There's a quiet noise most people never hear. It's not loud. It doesn't scream, but it haunts them. In traffic, in empty rooms, in the pause between one distraction and the next. It's the sound of something inside trying to wake up. A signal, barely a whisper. But once you recognize it, you'll never be able to unhear it again. It says, this isn't enough. You're not who you're pretending to be. There's more in you, and you know it. But most people, they drown that signal. With caffeine, with comfort, with fake smiles and full calendars. They bury it under convenience. They tell themselves they're doing okay. They build lives that are impressive on the outside, but hollow to the core. You see, the world gives you just enough comfort to sedate you, but not enough to save you. It lulls you into a sleepwalk where your dreams are replaced by obligations, and your instincts decay into hesitation. And what do we call that? Normal. No, it's not normal. It's neglect. It's spiritual atrophy. It's what happens when you stop challenging yourself. But here's the twist. That signal inside you, it doesn't stop. It grows louder when you ignore it. It turns into anxiety, into depression, into unexplained anger and shame and guilt. Why? Because your soul knows the truth. You are not here to preserve what is safe. You are here to destroy what is false, to break what no longer serves you, to confront the very edges of who you are and decide, right here, right now, that comfort is a betrayal and challenge is the only path forward. Let's be clear. This isn't about motivation. This is about liberation. You're shackled by who you were told to be, by the roles, the rules, the routines. But inside you, there's a beast that's never been fed, a part of you that doesn't want peace. It wants war, not against others, but against every lie you have accepted as truth. It wants challenge. It craves fire. It demands you prove you're alive by stepping into something that could break you. Because only then can you find out what you're really made of. So don't ask if you're ready. Ask yourself this. What will happen if you never listen to the signal? What will die inside you if you never answer the call? What will it cost to stay the same? Because the clock doesn't wait. The silence doesn't last. And the challenge you avoid today will become the regret you carry tomorrow. Welcome to the threshold. On this side, safety. On the other, suffering, fire, and power. And no one can carry you across. You either rise or you rot. Choose. So what does it take to break free from the cycle of mediocrity? What does it take to challenge yourself so deeply, so violently, that the old you doesn't survive the process? It takes a path forged in fire, 10 brutal steps, each one designed to strip away who you were and summon who you were meant to become. This isn't a checklist. This is a transformation, a war plan. These are the 10 intense moves that will force you, mentally, physically, spiritually, to evolve. Each step a confrontation, each step a death, each step a rebirth into your higher self and your higher calling. If you're ready, we begin now. Step 1. Shatter the illusion of safety. You've been taught to chase safety, secure the job, lock down the relationship, avoid risk, play the percentages. But safety is the most seductive lie ever sold. It wears the face of security, but behind the mask is something much darker: stagnation. Because what you call safe, your soul experiences as suffocation. Look around at the ones who did everything right. Are they alive or just breathing? Are they fulfilled or just surviving? Are they free are they owned by the very systems they built to feel secure? Here's the brutal truth. Comfort zones don't keep you safe. They keep you small. And there's a cost. Every time you choose what's easy, what's familiar, what won't hurt, you are trading growth for numbness. You're choosing to rot in a room with soft pillows, while the world outside is wild, dangerous, chaotic, and awakening. Safety is a straitjacket disguised as a lifestyle, and you wear it well. You dress it up with justifications. I'm being responsible. I'm planning ahead. I'm doing what I'm supposed to. No. You're stalling. You're feeding fear and calling it logic. You're building a fortress so tall that your purpose can't even see inside anymore. Because the truth is, growth begins where safety ends. The mind only adapts when it's pushed. The body only strengthens when it's torn. The spirit only awakens when it's challenged. That is not a metaphor. That is a law. And yet, you've built an entire existence to avoid pressure. You chase comfort like it's oxygen. You avoid confrontation like it's poison. You overplan to prevent unpredictability. And in doing so, you've become predictable. What do you think happens to a predictable creature in a chaotic world? It breaks. It crumbles under weight it never trained for. It dies without ever living. So if you want to grow, really grow, you need to become dangerous to your comfort zone. You need to walk into risk, not recklessly, but deliberately. You need to challenge the parts of you that cling to routine like a child clings to a blanket. Because that comfort, it's not safety. It's a slow burial. You must shatter it. You must tear down the walls of false protection you've built around your potential. Because the life you want, the version of you that could dominate, inspire, lead, create, and conquer, that version is not hidden behind safe decisions. It is buried under all the things you've been too afraid to face. Your power begins the moment you say, I am no longer loyal to what is safe. I am loyal only to what makes me strong. And that loyalty, that shift in allegiance, that is the first cut, the first tear in the skin of your old life. It will hurt. But that pain, that's how you know you finally stopped lying to yourself. That's how you know you've stepped into the fire. So shatter the illusion. Break the glass. Let the wind in. Let the cold touch your bones. Let the unknown stare you in the face. Because from here on out, safety is treason, and challenge is the only truth worth bleeding for. Step 2. Wage war on the old identity. Growth is not an addition. It's a death. It's not layering on more goals, more routines, more mantras. It's a brutal excavation, a stripping away, a burning of the false. And most people never grow because they never declare war on who they used to be. You've built an identity to survive, to cope, to be accepted. You crafted a version of yourself that could navigate the world without too much friction. You learned when to speak and when to stay silent. You figured out which dreams to mention and which ones to bury. You shaped yourself into something palatable, tolerable, and safe. But that version, that old you, it was never built for greatness. It was built to fit in, to get by, to exist in proximity to power without ever claiming it. And here's where the pain cuts deep. You've outgrown your former self, but you're still loyal to it. You still carry its fears, still speak its language, still honor its limits. Why? Because becoming new requires betrayal of the old. And betrayal hurts, even when it's necessary. You have to kill parts of yourself. The parts that flinch when criticized. The parts that want validation. The parts that hide behind "not ready yet." Every time you say, "That's just the way I am," you're engraving your own tombstone. You're letting the past dictate the present. You're letting the dead decide the future. But your future doesn't belong to the version of you that created your pain. It belongs to the one who's willing to destroy it. Not slowly, not politely, violently. Burn the excuses. Slay the voice in your head that says, "Maybe later." Drag your habits into the light and gut the ones that no longer serve you. This is not self-help. This is self-assassination. And only through that ruthless inner execution can rebirth occur. But here's what they don't tell you. The old you won't die easily. It will beg. It will plead. It will disguise itself as reason, as nostalgia, as identity. It will whisper, "Don't change too fast. You're doing fine. You've come so far." It will wear the face of your family, your friends, your own damn voice. But if you listen, you lose. Because the old self, it doesn't want evolution. It wants comfort. And comfort is the enemy of transformation. So what do? You declare war. You tell your former self, "I owe you nothing. You were the bridge, not the destination. You helped me survive. Now I'm here to live." Then you burn the bridge behind you. No return, no retreat, no more identity games. Because you weren't born to be consistent with who you've been. You were born to become who you're meant to be. And that takes war. Internal, daily, relentless. So raise the blade, cut the cords, drown the mask, and carve a new name into your mind, unrecognizable. Because if people still know who you are a year from now, you didn't evolve. You stayed loyal to a ghost. And no warrior drags corpses into the battlefield. Step 3. Feed the fire with voluntary suffering. There's a reason most never rise. Not because they aren't capable, but because they're comfortable. They fear suffering like it's a curse. They treat pain like an enemy. But those who become powerful, they know better. They know that the pain we choose builds the future we earn. The weak wait for life to test them. The strong test themselves. Every morning, every hour, every moment, they step into discomfort on purpose. Not because it feels good, but because it forges who they are. Voluntary suffering is sacred. It's not masochism. It's not self-harm. It's self-respect, expressed in sacrifice. It's training your body to obey when it's tired. Training your mind to focus when it wants to wander. Training your soul to stand tall when everything shakes. Most people want growth without struggle. They want strength without resistance. They want reward without risk. But you're here because you've realized the fire you walk into willingly is the only fire that can't burn you. You've chosen a different law now, a darker one, a warrior's code. You no longer wait for chaos to find you. You go out and hunt it. You train when no one watches. You work when no one claps. You push when nothing pushes you back. Why? Because you know that suffering with direction builds something that no shortcut ever could. Identity. And here's the paradox. The more you suffer voluntarily, the less the world can touch you. You become dangerous, not to others, but to failure, to weakness, to fear. You become a threat to every system designed to keep people docile. A glitch in the matrix of mediocrity. A living contradiction to every excuse society hands out like candy. But there's a warning. This path will break you. And that's exactly the point. Because the version of you that walks in is not the version that walks out. The pain, it reshapes you. It burns away the fake. It melts the ego. It turns identity into armor. So don't ask for lighter burdens. Ask for a sharper spine. Don't seek rest. Seek the edge. And when it cuts into you, don't flinch. Smile. Because every drop of sweat, every early morning, every cold shower, every difficult conversation, every skipped comfort, every rep, every rejection, every sacrifice is fuel. Fuel for the fire that will turn you from forgotten to unforgettable. But you have to choose it voluntarily, deliberately, ruthlessly. So let others numb themselves. Let them worship comfort. Let them run from the grind. You suffer on purpose. So when real storms come, you don't bend. You command the thunder. Step 4. Train in the dark. Master the silence before the applause. There's a phase of growth no one talks about. The middle chapter. The quiet place between who you were and who you're becoming. It's not glamorous. There are no spotlights, no validation, no cheering crowd. Just you, doing the work, bleeding in the shadows, repeating the same moves, again and again, while the world scrolls past, unaware you even exist. This is the phase where most quit, because the silence starts to feel like a verdict. The lack of attention starts to feel like failure. And the grind, when no one's watching, starts to feel pointless. But that's the test. Because the ones who only work for praise, they vanish when the applause stops. But the ones who train in the dark, they become unstoppable the moment the light hits them. You are either building your strength in private or broadcasting your weakness in public. So understand this. Real growth is invisible before it's undeniable. The roots always dig deeper before the tree breaks the surface. The muscle fibers always tear before the strength appears. And your silence, it's not a punishment. It's a crucible. It's the place where you face your real enemy, yourself, the part of you that craves recognition, the part that needs to be seen to feel worthy, the part that doubts when results take too long. Kill that part. Because mastery isn't built on adrenaline. It's built on consistency, on the reps no one sees, on the discipline that lives in complete obscurity. This is where your identity is earned, not gifted, not faked, earned. When the camera's off, when no one's clapping, when you feel invisible, irrelevant, unseen, but you still show up, you still train, you still learn, you still move like you're already there. Why? Because you're not performing, you're becoming. That's the difference. See, the world only respects outcomes, but you must respect the process. And the process is lonely, ugly, silent. But if you can master that silence, you become unshakable in the noise. So let the world sleep on you. Let them doubt. Let them forget your name. That's fine. Because you're not in this for recognition. You're in this for domination. And domination requires preparation. Far longer than most are willing to endure. Let others post about the grind. You live in it. Own it. Thrive in it. Because when the day comes, when the curtain finally lifts and your name echoes through the halls of power, you'll be ready. Not because you were lucky. Not because you were born for it. But because you suffered in silence while everyone else was screaming for attention. And now you move like the storm. Because the dark was your dojo. And you are no longer afraid to be overlooked. Step 5. Turn discipline into identity. Become what you do in private. There comes a point in this journey where motivation dies, where adrenaline fades, where no quote, no playlist, no fire-breathing speech can save you. And that's where most break. Because they were never rooted. They were hyped, not hardened. But the warriors, the ones who endure and ascend, they don't rely on motivation. They rely on something colder, something sharper. Discipline, but not the kind you force. Not the kind you drag behind you like a chore. I'm talking about a discipline that fuses with your bloodstream, where it's no longer something you do. It's who you are. Discipline must become your identity, not a habit, not a resolution, not a streak. It has to be written into your bones. You wake up early not because it's trendy, but because sleeping in feels like betrayal. You train not to post about it, but because you refuse to become soft. You eat clean not to impress, but because you know what fog does to your mind. And a foggy mind leads to fatal mistakes. This is beyond lifestyle. This is war preparation. This is becoming the kind of person you would follow into battle. And the battlefield, it's daily. Every time your alarm goes off and you hesitate, that's a battle. Every time your emotions beg you to stay comfortable, that's a battle. Every time you want to quit early, delay the hard thing, take the easier route, that's war. And in those moments, discipline doesn't just save your progress, it saves your identity. Because identity isn't built by who you want to be. It's built by what you consistently do when nobody's watching. And if your actions keep betraying your goals, you're not struggling, you're lying. You say you want to be powerful, then prove it. Every meal, every representative, every journal entry, every budget you stick to, every time you choose solitude over shallow company, every time you refuse to negotiate with weakness, that's you casting votes for the version of yourself that's rising from the ashes. Not someday, right now. But there's a warning. This level of discipline, it will cost you your old life. You'll lose things, time, comfort, friendships, the ability to relax like normal people. But what you gain? A mind that doesn't fold under pressure, a body that doesn't retreat under strain, a soul that doesn't shrink in darkness, a presence that cannot be ignored. This is when you stop chasing the next quick fix, the next system, the next dopamine hit, and you become the system, the structure, the unmovable foundation, the blueprint. Others will look to you and wonder how you're so disciplined. But the truth is simple. You stopped trying to be disciplined, and you started being the kind of person who simply doesn't break. So when they sleep in, you rise. When they make excuses, you execute. When they delay, you decide. When they drift, you drive. Because now, discipline isn't something you practice. It's something you embody. And when you reach that level, you're no longer playing the game. You are the game. Step 6. Sever the need for external permission. There's a leash around your neck. Invisible. Silent. But it's there. And it tightens every time you wait for someone to tell you it's okay to move forward. You feel it when you hesitate to speak your truth. You feel it when you water yourself down in rooms that can't handle your full volume. You feel it when you delay your dream, waiting for a nod, a pat on the back, a green light from people who wouldn't last a day living the life you were born to build. This leash, it's called external permission. And if you don't sever it, you will die with your fire still caged in your chest. Understand this. The world will not give you permission to grow. It will not hand you the sword to cut yourself free. It will keep you predictable, digestible, and useful until there's nothing left of you. You'll be fed just enough acceptance to stay quiet, just enough praise to stay in line, just enough guilt to never ask for more. And here's the sick part. You'll call it love. You'll call it respect. You'll call it being realistic. But deep down, you'll know the truth. You've been programmed to ask for permission for a life that only you can authorize. How many times have you waited? Waited for the right time. Waited for support. Waited for them to understand. Waited for the fear to pass. And in all that waiting, what have you built? A carefully measured existence that offends no one and transforms nothing. That ends now. Because every time you hesitate for approval, you reinforce the lie that your value depends on someone else's validation. But the truth is brutal and freeing. You don't need anyone's permission to become dangerous. You just need to decide and accept the consequences. Because there will be consequences. People will get uncomfortable when you stop asking. They'll say you've changed because you're finally doing what they never had the courage to attempt. And they'll be right. You have changed. You've severed the need to be tolerated. You've outgrown the urge to be accepted. You've stepped into the rarest form of power, self-authorization. You'll learn to approve of your own moves, to validate your own choices, to crown yourself in silence, without applause, without permission, without recognition. And once you do that, you become untouchable. You're no longer asking to be let through the gate. You're building your own city. You're no longer begging for a seat at the table. You're tearing down the table and constructing your own damn throne. But this level of power demands something vicious. You must cut off the noise. Emotionally detach from every opinion that does not sharpen you, and become a sovereign force in your own evolution. Because if you keep asking for permission, you'll keep building someone else's dream. And yours? It will rot beneath the weight of their approval. So say it out loud. Not for them, for you. I do not need you to understand me. I do not need you to agree with me. I do not need your permission to become everything I was born to be. Then move, ruthlessly, relentlessly, without asking again. Because from this moment forward, you don't wait to be chosen. You choose yourself. Step 7. Detach from who they think you are. You were never meant to stay who they remember. But the weight of memory is heavy. Not your memory. Theirs. They remember the old you, the unhealed you, the agreeable you, the one who laughed at things you hated, smiled through betrayal, and played small to avoid becoming a threat. And the deeper you rise, the louder their ghosts become. You've changed. You're not the same. You think you're better now? They say it like an insult. But it's the highest compliment they could give you. Because growth should offend the stagnant. Evolution should disrupt the predictable. And if your transformation doesn't make the people around you uncomfortable, you're probably still performing. Detach from who they think you are. Let go of their story. Let go of their version of you. Let go of the box they keep trying to shove you back into every time you outgrow it. You are not obligated to remain the character they created in their heads. That version of you was built in survival. It knew how to keep the peace, keep things light, keep dreams hidden in polite silence. But you didn't come here to be digestible. You came here to be undeniable. And that requires a level of internal betrayal most people don't have the stomach for. You have to betray the image they love, the image that made them comfortable. You have to burn it, even if it costs you their applause, even if it earns you their confusion, even if it turns their smiles into silence. Because you can't serve your past and your future at the same time. You can't climb while dragging dead perceptions behind you. You can't ascend while anchoring yourself to opinions built on a version of you that no longer exists. Who they remember is not your responsibility. Who you become is. And when you finally detach from their memory, you begin to move like someone who answers to a higher law. The law of truth. The law of purpose. The law of evolution by fire. No more apologizing for your ambition. No more softening your tone to soothe the fragile. No more performing humility for people who wouldn't know what it costs to stay disciplined in silence. Detach from their approval, from their confusion, from their outdated memory of you. And here's the brutal truth. You will be called selfish, cold, arrogant, too much. Let them talk. You weren't built to be understood by everyone. You were built to become a force of nature, something they can't ignore even if they try. Because while they cling to the fiction of who you were, you are rising into the reality of who you were always meant to be. So mourn the image if you must, then bury it. Burn the mask, shatter the portrait, and walk forward with no chains left to carry. Let them miss the old you. Let them whisper behind your back. Let them say you've changed. Because they're right. You have, and you're never going back. Step 8. Ruthlessly align with who you're becoming. Transformation isn't magic. It's blood. It's sweat. It's the violent realignment of your entire existence to serve one thing: the highest version of you. But here's the problem. Most people want change, without cost. They want the next level of life, but they're still loyal to the patterns, people, and habits of the last one. And that's the paradox that destroys them. Because you can't evolve and remain unchanged. You can't climb and carry what was meant to be left below. You can't serve your vision and your vices. So what do? You draw the line, and then you defend that line with ruthless precision. No more halfway effort. No more tolerating energy that drains you. No more rationalizing mediocrity. You enforce your new standard with surgical discipline. Not emotionally, not angrily, but with cold clarity. Because alignment isn't just about inspiration, it's about elimination. You want to change your life? Then every area of your existence must come into alignment with the identity you're building. Your calendar, your diet, your environment, your conversations, your digital habits, your financial decisions, your nightly rituals, your relationships, your thoughts, all of it. Anything that feeds the old identity, kill it. Anything that keeps you looped in delay, cut it. Anything that whispers, you can do this later, burn it. Because alignment is not passive. It's war. It's a daily audit. It's a daily purge. It's waking up and asking, does this serve who I'm becoming? Or does it serve who I used to be? And if it doesn't serve the vision, you destroy it. No debate, no delay, no discussion. Because if you hesitate, your old self will bargain. It will justify. It will negotiate for comfort. It'll tell you one more day won't hurt, that you've earned a break, that you're doing enough. But that's the lie. Enough is a prison, and the only way out is total alignment with the highest standard you've ever demanded from yourself. That means making decisions that feel brutal. That means outgrowing environments you once called home. That means refusing to apologize for protecting your energy, like your life depends on it. Because it does. Your identity is fragile in its early stages. It hasn't fully formed yet, and it needs protection. Guard it like a throne in a kingdom at war. Because misalignment is the enemy that comes dressed like comfort. It looks harmless. But every time you say yes to the old world, you delay the birth of the new one. So be ruthless, not cruel. Clear. Clarity is love. Discipline is compassion. Elimination is growth. And when you fully align, your energy sharpens. Your decisions accelerate. Your voice deepens. Your presence changes. People will feel it. They won't know what happened, but they'll know they can't speak to you the same. They'll know the old access is gone. They'll know they're standing in the presence of someone claimed by purpose. And you'll no longer be caught between two worlds. You'll no longer waver in doubt. You'll no longer wonder who you are. Because when your entire life bows to the highest version of yourself, you don't chase your future, you become it. Step 9. Weaponize your indifference. Detach to conquer. There comes a point in the path to mastery where your greatest threat isn't failure. It's attachment. Attachment to approval. Attachment to results. Attachment to being liked, being understood, being seen. And if you don't kill it, it will kill your evolution. Because the moment you tie your effort to how others respond, you've already lost control. Your energy is no longer yours. Your vision is now at the mercy of external winds. And warriors, we don't serve weather. We move through it. Detach from the outcome. Detach from the applause. Detach from the noise. Indifference isn't weakness. It's power. The most misunderstood form of power. It's not about not caring. It's about not needing. Not needing validation to keep moving. Not needing certainty to commit. Not needing comfort to execute. And once you strip yourself of need, you become a problem for the system. Because they can't guilt trip you. They can't manipulate you with rewards. They can't slow you down with rejection or silence. You become cold, not heartless, focused. Indifference sharpens your decisions. You stop second-guessing. You stop adjusting your truth to be palatable. You stop explaining yourself to people whose minds were never open in the first place. You don't flinch at loss. You don't beg for understanding. You don't chase ghosts that once clapped for your smaller self. You move, unbothered, relentless, detached. And here's where most people break. They mistake detachment for loneliness. They crave connection so badly that they betray themselves to keep it. They'd rather be liked than be free. But you've evolved past that. Because you know, the mission is too big to pause for emotions. The standard is too high to bow to sensitivity. And your time is too sacred to waste on approval. You don't act based on feelings. You act based on code. A personal code of fire, forged in the dark, when no one believed in you but you. And that code says, I do what must be done. I feel what I must feel. And I move, regardless. That's not cruelty. That's clarity. And with that clarity comes an invincibility they can't understand. They'll talk, and you won't hear them. They'll attack, and you won't react. They'll withdraw, and you won't flinch, because you no longer need anything from them. Your identity, your power, your progress, they are all self-sustained. And that's terrifying to people who still run on permission and praise. But that's not your problem anymore. Your concern is command, self-command, strategic indifference, emotional sovereignty, the ability to feel but not fold, to love but not lose focus, to care but never compromise your mission. So detachment from their praise, from their opinions, from the old need to be understood. And remember, the lion does not explain itself to the sheep. It moves, it hunts, it conquers, in silence, in presence, in complete detachment. Because emotional discipline isn't cold, it's sacred. And when you master it, they won't know how to break you, because you've already broken the part of you that could be broken. And in that death, you've become untouchable. Step 10. Kill delay. Embody now. This is it. This is where the pretending stops. The planning ends. The hoping dies. Because growth doesn't live in theory. It doesn't care about what you intend. It only responds to what you embody. And if there's still a gap between what you say you want and how you live your daily life, you are still delaying, still fantasizing, still outsourcing your power to the illusion of later. Later is a lie. Later is the most seductive form of self-betrayal ever created. It sounds noble. It sounds patient. It sounds responsible. But it's the voice of fear dressed up as logic. I'll start after the holidays. I'll wait until I'm less overwhelmed. I just need more information. No. You need to make the leap. You need to kill delay. Right now. Because every day you wait, the old identity grows stronger. It tightens its grip. It reinforces its patterns. It convinces you that planning is progress, that hesitation is wisdom, that standing still is somehow safer. But the clock doesn't stop for your fear. The world doesn't pause to accommodate your potential. The moment is now. The embodiment is now. This is no longer about goals. This is about becoming the person who lives as if the outcome is already done. You want to be elite? Then start moving like one. Not tomorrow. Not after you read the next book. Now, because identity isn't something you wait for. It's something you install. With every choice, every step, every ruthless refusal to be anything less than who you were born to be. And here's the secret. There's no ceremony, no gates that open, no fireworks to confirm you've arrived. The only sign is the way you move. Do you delay? Do you justify? Do you still need to feel ready? Then you haven't crossed. But when you embody now, everything shifts. You eat like the future version. You speak like the future version. You execute like the future version. You decide like the future version. Because you are now becoming them in real time. And once you live like that consistently, the world has no choice but to adjust to your new frequency. The environment bends. The people shift. The results begin to align. Why? Because you stopped asking for change and became the change. This is not about perfection. It's about precision. It's not about waiting to be worthy. It's about walking like you already are. Because if you still need proof before you move, you're not embodying power. You're still negotiating with weakness. So let that final part of you die. The part that hesitates. The part that tiptoes. The part that tries to ease its way into greatness. Burn it. Stand in the fire until only the truth of you remains. The version that acts without doubt. Moves without delay. decides without external influence. The version that doesn't talk about the vision anymore, because they are the vision, not in the future. Now, right here, right now, in the way you breathe, in the way you move, in the way you hold your posture, in silence, knowing you are no longer becoming. You have arrived. You've just walked through 10 thresholds. Each one stripped something from you. Each one demanded blood, demanded sacrifice, demanded truth. Let's be clear. This wasn't a motivational speech. It was a ritual, a psychological rite of passage for those willing to step beyond the illusion of who they've been and into the reality of who they're meant to become. You shattered the illusion of safety. You waged war on the old identity. You chose voluntary suffering over passive decay. You trained in silence without applause. You made discipline your identity, not your tool. You severed your need for permission. You detached from who they remember. You aligned every cell with your higher standard. You weaponized your indifference. And finally, you killed delay so you could embody now. And if you did it right, something in you just died. The coward, the pleaser, the dreamer who never moved. Gone. And what's left? A presence. A shadow with teeth. A vision walking in real time. Undaunted, unbothered, unapologetically forged. But remember this. This isn't the end. This is the starting line of the new era. Because when you challenge yourself at this level, you don't go back to sleep. You don't regress. You don't fit in. You rise. Every day becomes another layer of armor, another rep for the soul, another step deeper into your calling. The fire isn't behind you anymore. It's in you. So stay sharp, stay ruthless, stay rising. Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more warriors who've conquered themselves. And if you're still here, you've already begun that war. Now finish it.